Well, a few years back, I had made this bench out of ash. It's a rather large bench, and it's one of those where there's no metal in it. It's just pegged with ironwood. And now this thing is sat outside all the time, and I've been using it, overhauling motors and whatnot. But really, my idea was to use it for more of the carpentry stuff. So I happened to pick up a nice little pony vise at a rummage sale at one time, and I figure I'm going to mount that here. They're nice in that they have that little stop that you can pull up, and then you can drill holes that put the bench stops that pony also makes and clamp that way. And also, what inspired me to do this, I got a couple of these that are the pony hold downs that drill a 3/4 inch hole, and then you just tap them down to clamp. So I figured I put them on here someplace, drill the holes for them. But like I say, this is made out of ash, and now from me using it for mechanic stuff, overhauling chainsaws and stuff, it got to be pretty grubby on top, though it was coated with pine tar, which is why it survived all these years outside. But to clean it up, all I did was to plane it, because, like I say, there's no metal. The only thing holding it are these pins, and it just planes the pins. So it cleaned up very nicely. So now I got to put another coat of pine tar on, and then scheme out exactly, where I want the vise. But I'm kind of thinking here, because usually when you're using something like that, it's sawing on the end. But I got to put the wood, and that's where I used ash on my other pony vise. So I'll put some ash pieces in here to cushion it so you aren't going right against the metal. But I think that'll work out well. But I've never used these before, but I like the idea. It's just drill a 3/4 inch hole, and then they go in, and you bang them in, and then the pressure holds. Then you bang it, and it releases the pressure. But I thought I better get this bench cleaned up and start using this, because what I've been working on is that table, which I really hadn't designed. It is really big enough for carpentry stuff. I've got other benches, but this one is a good size for working on the carpentry stuff, which is what my intention was in the first place. Then it's good heavy, it's 2-inch ash. And it's handy in that when I built it, I built a shelf underneath. So you can always be putting tools underneath when you need to, instead of having everything laying on top. But I like the idea that without screws and stuff, to clean it up, just plane her down and put another coat of pine tar on it, which I will do now while the sun is shining. But good solid bench, and you can see the pine tar certainly preserved it for sitting outside for years. Someplace been back 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. There's a couple, 3 videos on when I built this bench. But I can put it to use. But I was glad to find the vise. That stuff, you can get it at auction sales or rummage sales. Yeah, there's a sticker out here yet, but I can't see what the price was. But she's sitting around collecting dust all these years, so might as well put it to use. Well, I say I've got one exactly like it on my other bench over there. But that is a low bench, which I intentionally made it low because I had this one which is high. Because this is a good one to work at standing. That's a good one to work at sitting, or it's low enough that you can get up on top of it and work on stuff. So put this one back into service because eventually I have a place this needs to go. And like I said, I've been using my oak table. Well, that has a use as a table, not as a workbench. I don't want to get that screwed up, you know. So put the bench back to work.